Ah!
Let's say.
Welcome to Grawlix Nights, the Grawlix podcast live show on a Friday.
Whoa.
We're obviously very prepared. I have a feeling all that's probably didn't actually hit the live stream anyway at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I found it weird that the intro started playing, but it didn't mute your mic automatically, Jesse. Did you notice
so
that?
you heard all that? Okay.
I heard a little bit of it. But then it was just a little slow to the pickup.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Friday night instead of yesterday because people were busy. People got things to do.
Yep.
So we're kicking it on. Savannah said by the way, hi Savannah. The caption said garlic nights.
My favorite is what was it? Something about Grawlix.
Well, I know when a lot of the smart speakers were podcasting, podcasts were hitting the smart speakers, I tried to promote hey, just say, hey, whoever, play Grawlix podcast, but none of them understand Grawlix, so it just didn't work.
Yeah, man, nothing about our initial vision for the show makes any sense to anyone.
Yeah.
Melanie has expressed some regret at recommending Grawlix just because nobody knows what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you know what Grawlix is, it fits so well.
Right.
It's a word people don't know.
Right.
And now there's that comedy group, the Grawlix, and they were around before, but they didn't have a podcast. And I was like, well, it's fine. We're not doing the same thing. We're in very different areas of whatever. So there's not going to be any overlap, but they do have a podcast now. Fortunately, it's like Grawlix Saves the World or something like that. But I'm like, oh God, that they pop up whenever I search Grawlix podcast in a new podcast directory or something. I'm like, that muddies the water too.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if episode 100 ever comes out, maybe after episode 100 comes out, maybe we're just not even Grawlix anymore. I mean, we have other domains that we're just sitting on.
Oh, I know we are, and I am jealous of such domains, and I'm happy. I'm happy to adopt those, adopt that title.
If we're just parking them, I mean,
I love it. I noticed it redirects to Grawlix already. So
yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Exactly, Paul. I'm not gonna say it out loud because I don't want to trigger anyone's smart devices.
I do. Hey Siri.
Call my mom.
Yes, that would be so great if everyone's mom suddenly got a call. And that would be because of us.
Mm-hmm.
Call your moms.
We're bringing families together.
Yes, come on. You're not thinking about them right now, are you? You got enough things on your plate, but you should be.
Savannah says, I don't have Siri, but please don't. Well, okay, in some cases, you don't have to call your mom. Right? You probably shouldn't.
Hey, Alexa.
Order PlayStation 5. The order ones where you can just order things, that makes me nervous. Is there no security confirmation you have to do?
The worst is those little buttons that Amazon was putting out for a long time where it's oh, I need Tide. I'll just push the button.
Bam, bam.
Oh, that's such a bad idea. What do
just
kids love to do in the elevator? Hit all the buttons, and now it takes you an hour to get to the top floor.
There's got to be some horror stories about such a thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. Yeah.
So what we're doing tonight, everybody, is we're not just talking about this, our podcast title and weird smart speaker disasters. We're going to react at the news. We're gonna react at the news. Savannah said there's a confirmation set to my phone. There's a confirmation sent to her phone because she has kids. Okay.
Oh, so that would stop the like
automatic, just like ordering
That's good.
crap and charging your card because everybody's card's tied to that anyway. There's a ton of interesting, or maybe not interesting, definitely not important, but there's a ton of news that is very Grawlix appropriate. It's very, very nerdy, like I said, and then some things that are just kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the star segment of every episode now, there will be some Snyder Watch.
Mm-hmm. But first, did you watch anything, Randy?
I did watch some things. In fact, you did too, and I know what they are because we watched them together.
That's right.
I haven't been watching any TV that I can think of. I don't think there's any shows that I'm currently like hitting hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was Agatha all along.
We have not watched today, since we're streaming live Friday. We have not watched today's. Melanie and I have not watched today's WandaVision. I know Jesse has. Otherwise, we probably would be talking about WandaVision. And he wants to say things.
I have things to say.
We're not going to. Paul says he's actually excited for the Snyder Watch.
Well, we're probably not talking about that one.
Yeah.
Is there one I missed? There probably is.
I don't know.
So first, Melanie threw this suggestion at me. I didn't know. I had not heard of this movie. It's new, I think.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Apparently, everyone's seen it now, but we watched I Care a Lot.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
like
not familiar?
A Care Bear movie?
No.
No, the title did.
Not.
The title did make me think that.
Do they come down in cloud cars?
I saw the title and I was like, care a lot. I care a lot. Because, yeah, I'm a Care Bear girl.
So, I Care a Lot. It's on Netflix right now. And it's got... Is that Rosamund Pike? Is that her name?
I think so.
Peter Dinklage, whatever. Bunch of people.
Peter Dinklage was my... Yeah, that was my selling point for Randy. I'm like, we gotta watch this movie. It's got the chick from the hallway Massive Attack video. It's not a hallway; it's like a subway.
Massive Attack. There's a great Massive Attack music video.
It's for "Voodoo in My Blood," I think is the name of the song.
Yeah, it's a classic video. Go watch it.
Yeah,
but
great.
It's got that chick who's like the lead in this movie.
Mm-hmm. And then Peter Dinklage.
And he is a selling point because I randomly think of Peter Dinklage, and the other day I was like, where is he? Where is Peter Dinklage?
Peter Dinklage.
I love that he didn't get just like, probably don't even need to mention it, but the elephant in the he's a little person, and I love that he didn't just get like sidelined into little person roles. He was in
isn't he? He's Trask.
Yeah, he just gets roles, that. And that's the same in this. He's a dude in here. Like it's not anything specific about him being a little person. I love that.
I'm pretty sure they don't mention it at all ever.
No, and he's great. Yeah. He's just good. So that was a selling point. Savannah says, "Oh, I want to see I Care a Lot." Okay, Melanie.
Yes.
No spoiler.
No spoiler.
Don't spoil this movie. It's new. No. People haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
There are memes of it already.
Yes.
This is most of this movie I did not enjoy. I did not have a good time.
Right. Me either. Well, that's not like it was.
So you didn't care a lot.
No, it's kind of.
I cared too much.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's like I don't want to root for this person because I really kind of hope they die. But
this is not a spoiler. This is like established very early in the movie.
Very early, yeah.
The lead is the worst villain. Is like one of the most evil villains I've seen in a movie in a long time. Mm-hmm. And part of what makes her so evil and irritating to watch is because it's based in reality. These people are out there for sure. Mm-hmm. And it's infuriating.
Yes, it is.
You got to embrace.
that to be like a GIF now. You saying infuriating.
Yes, it is maddening. Savannah says, "Ooh, it sounds like I would root for the lead. I would think less of you as a person.
I don't think you will.
I would think less of you. Just saying."
Yeah.
And so the whole movie, like, you're like, yes, I want. When is this character gonna die? Like, I need this. I need this character to get killed off if there's any justice in the world.
Or
and
if not killed off, at least imprisoned or something. Like, this person should not be allowed to walk free amongst decent human beings.
And part of it is, I think it's not a bad movie.
Mm-mm.
And it intentionally is like, knows that it has, like, it probably made you hate this character, and then the movie treats this character as the protagonist, like you're supposed to root for her as she's like overcoming things, and it's like, and that makes it more irritating, but I know it's totally intentional.
Yeah.
But it's so frustrating, and part of it is like, so it has to do with basically taking advantage of old people, and it's like, this exists, but I didn't realize this exists to this point. So it's very much like a not crime rooted in reality that's like something I'd never thought of, and it just makes me so angry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I would recommend it to people, and doing the thing that they do where they make the evilest person in the show, in my opinion, even though there's a lot of people in there that are not good people, but arguably the most evil person in the show, the protagonist. I love that they did that, because really what they're doing is pointing out the way at least America, if not other countries, behave. They're like, capitalism is king, and you should be a lion and you know, be the what do you call it? That eats other animals. Yeah.
Be the alpha. Yeah. Be the alpha. Be ruthless.
Be the predator. That's what it was.
It sucks that I actually knew what that was gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Be the predator, not the prey, and that's how you
apex
succeed.
predator.
Yes, and we have that mentality, and it allows for things like this to happen, in my opinion. And we shouldn't be rooting for that type of people. Just like, you know, we should.
Yeah, Savannah.
But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It was very frustrating. I've never wanted somebody to die off more. I don't think in anything I've ever watched. But
even Joffrey. I mean, like, since we're talking about Peter Dinklage.
Joffrey.
That's
is
hard. I mean, ooh, we should do a list episode of who do you want to die?
Mm-hmm.
Like the most frustrating villains.
Yeah, most hated. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Joffrey is bad, and I didn't care for him, but and he was evil too. But I felt more like he should have just been like horribly embarrassed and stripped of his wealth, and that would have been fine. With this chick, I don't feel like that would have been enough necessarily. But anyway, let's move on.
Okay, well, before we move on, let me finish typing this note so we don't forget the list episode idea.
Oh.
So we care a lot.
So I didn't really watch a whole lot, except I did watch this. This is one of those movies. Like, there are a whole lot of movies right now that I am finding that I'm like, hey, I want to watch that. It's not streaming anywhere, right? This is one of those movies. The Basketball Diaries.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt like watching that, and so we did. And I forgot how dark it was. I was like, hey, you know what? It's about a poet. And I own a couple Jim Carroll books. And then I watched this movie and it was like, oh, it's basically about ruining your own life.
Yeah, I was going to say, how you're like, I feel like being super depressed today. Let's go watch Basketball Diaries.
Right. So, I mean, that's basically what I watched, and it's dark, and it's got Mark Wahlberg. It's got the successful Wahlberg.
Mhm.
What?
Shots fired.
We found a transformer.
Good vibrations. The other thing, hey, do you guys want to see me destroy something beautiful like Edward Norton in Fight Club?
Why? Are you going to open that? Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm gonna open that. That's a Marvel Legends figure. It's in this beautiful retro Spider-Man packaging, right?
Yeah.
It's super cool from the 90s animated series. I'm gonna tear it open
Why?
because I feel like destroying something beautiful like Jared Leto.
We're going solo screen for this.
Ugh! Actually, I don't know how to tear this open. I'm just gonna rip it. Oh, I ripped it through
gosh.
it. You see that? Oh,
That's no longer new in box. It's no longer new in
only at
box.
Grawlix Nights are you gonna get this kind of destructive force.
That was
This
mint.
is- Oh, I think I lost something.
Already?
Nope, I didn't.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's Daredevil, but it's Daredevil from the Fall from Grace
Uh-huh.
series, and so he's wearing the black and red costume with the silver shoulder pads there. He's got an extra head there in case you want everyone to know he's Matt Murdock. So yeah.
When did that become a thing? I've noticed that on a lot of action figures lately that they have extra heads. Is that?
Yeah, that's a new thing.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I generally, when I had dolls, I didn't switch their heads around much. But I mean, whatever.
So that was right after the Kingpin fell, and he had to kind of go into hiding. So he apparently needed a darker costume with silver shoulder pads, because that will help his echolocation somehow, I'm sure. Oh,
I got Danny O'Mani.
yeah, man.
You know who else has got Danny
Right.
O'Mani?
You
No
win.
one. I've
No
got him.
You're the only one that has that figure.
So, Danny O'Mani TikTok. Here it is. Savannah, by the way, what did you watch? That felt like a I went back and rewatched a movie too. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Um,
And in the meanwhile, what else did we watch? Because I don't remember nothing.
I know you don't.
I never do.
Okay, this movie is super interesting. It was a little disappointing, and I know I'm giving like my thoughts on it before even revealing what it is. It's called Freaky. Oh,
Yeah.
Savannah, the first Addams Family movie from the 90s, I'm assuming. That movie's great, by the way.
That movie is great. Oh, but I will say, it's one of the few. One of the few movies where I think the sequel is better.
I don't know that I've watched the sequel all the way through. I watched the
serious?
original a million times.
What?
Yeah. Well, what year did it
No.
come out? I feel like it just hit in a weird time in my life, like that I just wasn't watching movies or something.
Well, we're gonna have to sit down and watch it because Addams Family Values is fantastic, and it's not just because I have a weird love of Joan Cusack. I don't know why I said Jane, but it's just a great movie, and the first one is really, really good. I like it, but the second one's even better. And the camp stuff is priceless. Great pick, Savannah. I need to act. That's actually on my list of.
Look at him. Look at Slick.
How dare you, Paul? How dare you?
Okay, so Freaky. Do you remember this movie at all, Melanie?
Oh, I do.
Okay. This is I believe written and directed by the guy who did the Happy Death Day movies.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found that out, I was like, "Oh, we got to watch this."
Yeah, and real quick, the original title, but they weren't allowed to use it for licensing reasons, was Freaky Friday the 13th, which is yeah.
That's the movie. If you like here, okay. Yeah, the original title, and I even like guessed it. I was like, because the title is Freaky, and I don't remember the title screen popping up anywhere, but it does a countdown to Friday the 13th in the movie, and when it finally flashes Friday the 13th, it's suspiciously close to the actual Friday the 13th logo.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait, this is Freaky? So is this Freaky Friday the 13th? That's exactly what this movie is. It's Freaky Friday, but slasher movie.
Yeah. It's
body swap. What else? What other movies do that?
Other movies that body swap besides Freaky Friday?
But was it Vice Versa with Tom Hanks?
Yeah,
Big.
That Deuce Bigelow one is the one that I thought was the most like it. It's not Deuce Bigelow. It was with the guy from Deuce Bigelow. Yeah.
There's guys. There's like the ones that did it first, even before Freaky Friday. Wasn't there like? I feel like we're missing the main movies that people would know. People know what we're talking about.
Parent Trap.
Trap.
That is totally wrong.
Parent Trap yeah, they don't switch bodies. They just switch places because they're already twins.
Oh, maybe that's what.
Prince and the Pauper. Same problem.
I'm done.
That's
you guys are terrible. Okay.
No, I think Freaky Friday should be fine because really there have been like 3 Freaky Fridays. If you haven't seen at least one of them, then you shouldn't be out loud in public. I don't know.
Paul says I told you this would be good. Paul, you probably did. I have no recollection of that whatsoever.
But it was.
I did not recall ever hearing of this movie before we come across it. And we come across it because it was on the Dead Meat YouTube channel did a kill count of it, which is a great series if you've never watched it. If you're into horror movies, you got to watch that. And it's pretty new.
Mm-hmm.
Vince Vaughn plays the killer, and hence Vince Vaughn plays the killer, and who is the Catherine Newton plays the teenage girl. And when the killer, the slasher, stabs the girl with this cursed sacrificial dagger, they swap bodies. And that's the movie. So most of the time, it's Vince Vaughn as a teenage girl. A slight criticism, I don't like Vince Vaughn. Like in general, I think he's actually not bad. He's pretty funny in this.
Mm-hmm.
Slight criticism is he plays it more like a teenage girl than the teenage girl did when she was her.
Right.
So he played it up maybe a bit too much, or she played it down. Also, they did the like, she's the nerdy chick, except she's totally just the hot chick, but that they put in like a flannel shirt or something in the beginning.
Yeah.
And why would the serial... Okay, I'm jumping right into criticisms. This is totally... Paul says, I see you never listened to me. I just don't remember. I think I would remember Freaky Friday the 13th. Okay.
I thought I remembered Vice Versa, which starred Judge Reinhold and Fred Savage, but I didn't.
Yeah, you called it Big instead. Oh.
I called it Big.
Yeah, Big isn't really a body swap. Big is just like he's suddenly a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this is straight up a comedy. It's straight up like, it starts off and I'm like, God, this is such a parody. Like, okay, so this is the movie the characters are watching or something. No, it's just the movie.
Yeah.
When
I said it's a good movie, it's not a good movie. It's a good fun movie,
right.
If that makes more sense. So it's not it's not going to win any awards. Nobody expects that. But it's just a good time.
I'm sorry.
It's a parody of 2 different movies, so it's obviously really not that original. But it's still really fun, and they do lots of stuff that we were both laughing out loud, even though we don't like Vince Vaughn, and some of the characters are caricatures, but they still did interesting and fun stuff with it. So
this guy, what's his name? Christopher Landon. He loves going like slasher, 80s, early 90s concept comedy. Put them together, because Happy Death Day is totally slasher plus Groundhog's Day. Happy Death Day 2 is slasher plus Groundhog's Day plus like all the 80s adventures, kids adventure movies.
Yeah.
And this is Freaky Friday plus slasher plus also 80s adventure time. And more in tone. It doesn't get into like weird concepts like Happy Death Day 2. But at one point, Melanie's like, "What did you say?" You're like, "Is that sounds like Goonies music or something?"
Yeah, it did sound
When
like
our group of teens is like getting together trying to figure out how to like reverse this issue. And at one point, much like many times throughout Happy Death Day 2, I swear I heard a Back to the Future like audio cue. And it happened to be when the teenage girl's mom was hitting on the killer guy who was not the killer guy at that time. It was her daughter in the body, and she didn't know that, of course, and she's hitting on this guy. And there was the little like Back to the Future cue. I'm like, is that a Back to the Future incest joke?
Ooh, too soon.
Is it?
I don't know.
It's only like 35 years old.
It's weird.
I mean, I didn't make Back to the Future, okay?
That's fair.
Or Star Wars, the first one.
That's right. What was up with the 80s?
Paul says it's a masterclass in horror comedy. When I heard it was by the Happy Death Day guy, my expectations were a little high. So I wasn't in love with it, but I did enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. The body swap things are interesting and can be fun. Anyway, but when you put it into a slasher movie, so it's like this teenage girl is swapped bodies. So now there's a teenage girl running that is actually like a psychotic killer running around in a teenage girl's body. That adds like, fun elements to it. So, the killer can like kill somebody and then the cops show up and she's like, oh my God, no! And, and everybody is like, oh, it's a teenage girl. We got to save and protect her. And I'm like, that's so fun. I don't know. There's things like that I guess is original just in that way. It's not, even though none of the concepts are original, they take it to an original place because of stuff like that.
I will say,
Fun.
serial killer in his own body can't be bothered to shave or clean or wash his clothes, and he just wears black, and his hair's messy. He's just a very disheveled, older Vince Vaughn. The same killer in a teenage girl's body suddenly can dress up in a way that catches everyone's attention at school. Like, oh, wow, what's she wearing? And knows how to put on lipstick? Like, What is this? I was so confused. I wasn't confused, but I was like, wait, I get it. Like, she just needs to look like a bad girl now. But like, suddenly the killer's concerned about like personal hygiene.
Well, girls do live with different expectations than boys. So,
Can't talk right now. I'm doing a hot girl Grawlix.
What? Is that a reference? I don't understand that.
That's a TikTok thing. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm too old for TikTok, Jesse. I'm kidding. That was a low blow. Like, no one's too old for TikTok, but you probably should feel bad after a certain age.
Oh, come on. Some people have waited 42 years to find their audience.
No, TikTok's fine. I'm obviously not on it, so I have to make the like, it's for the kids joke. But you know what? All these things were for the kids until we got on there and took it over.
Kids until it wasn't.
Until the advertiser are like, there's a lot of kids on here. And then everybody's like, that's where the money's at.
And then they were like, hey, Kappa, there's kids on there.
Right. And then it'll be ruined.
Yep.
And we'll be off to the next thing. Ridiculing everyone our age who's on there while we join.
Oh, man, that's a whole thing on TikTok. Making fun of millennials that aren't Gen Z. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, is a whole thing. Yep.
I heard this big thing about, because I am a millennial, I suppose, just because of my birthday. But
you are.
Well, I feel like I should have been the generation before millennial, but I'm not.
And then there's Paul.
He's the youngest boomer.
I wouldn't go there.
Okay, the oldest millennial?
Yes, there we go.
Okay.
All right. Somehow that's better.
But yeah, they were going on about TikTok people making fun of millennials for their tight or their skinny jeans and their whatever. And I'm like, I have never in my life worn skinny jeans. I don't know what these people are talking about. If anything, I can't find a pair of pants that's big enough for me. That's like wide enough. I mean, I want pants I can fly away on. So I don't know where they get this millennial skinny leg or skinny jean thing.
I mean, that's we've talked about this before on the show and in life. Like Jesse, I don't recall where you fall, but Melanie and I are
technically a Zennial, but I feel like I identify more with the Gen X.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Melanie and I definitely fall in the age of millennial, but it is weird to think like, and I want to say I've heard like they've kind of actually pared it down where millennial ends, because it used to be like right up till like 99, and I'm like, people who grew up exclusively post 2000 had way different like childhood than us.
Yeah.
They didn't have to worry about Y2K. That was a thing.
They only knew a post 9/11 world. Fun
too. Yay.
Yeah, Y2K. Well, that's exactly the thing. It's like skinny jeans. I remember parachute pants, and when they were the bomb, they were too legit.
And low-rise jeans.
Oh, I do rock some low-rise, but low-rise with some big bottoms. Savannah says she loves wearing her skinny jeans, so there we go. If somebody born approximately 4 years after us, Randall, that's when they started getting skinny jeans.
Okay.
Which is weird.
It's interesting. So I'm not going to get into The Sims, but I've been playing The Sims 4 a bunch lately, more than I need to, but I've been playing it. It's my escape.
Yeah.
Long
Awkward
pause.
Pause. Yeah.
It makes me feel old, but not because of anything the developers do. In fact, I think the developers are as old as me and unaware of it, or older, because with The Sims, especially Sims 4, since like content you can get from them is very sparse and most of it's behind a paywall, which I keep paying. God dang it. People make things, I mean, modders and like people make custom content or whatever. CC, it's a big thing with The Sims.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of, so I'll find different things and clothes, download a bunch of clothes for your Sims. And I think a lot of the custom content creators are younger people, and a lot of them are chicks. Not all of them, but a lot of them are chicks. Younger people, they love their high-waisted jeans, and I hate them. I'm like, I hate those. Those are ugly. But all of the custom content jeans and stuff are high-waisted, and I'm like, to me, it looks like 80s, but that is a younger person thing. And so and looking through posts and watching YouTube videos, they're all the time complaining about how like all the pants in The Sims are like waist pants. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because so that means like the people designing clothes for The Sims are of a certain generation closer to mine. Whereas the younger people who are making the custom content are like, these are not current clothes. So it's interesting. It's a weird thing, but it makes me feel kind of old, but also like, kids, stop it. Those high-waisted pants are awful.
Yeah,
awful. Terrible. They look awful, and I don't like putting them on my
mom
Sims.
jeans.
Yeah, those are mom. Hey, kids, your pants are mom jeans. There are mom jeans, so stop it.
I think that we should stop worrying about fashion and start making our clothes for comfort, so that everyone of every sex can just
I'm not wearing a dress. No.
I didn't say dress. I said gaucho pants. I said you should buy some gaucho pants and you would love them. It would change your life.
There was a thing, and I don't even want to get into it.
I think everyone should wear them, and it's like they're like magic. They're super comfortable, and there would be no more. There would be no more war. Even everyone would be happy and comfortable in their magic flowy pants.
That's bold.
Men and women both.
Did this just become a John Lennon song?
Yeah, it did.
I'm just saying that I love those kind of pants. And they're not popular anymore, and I hate that they're not. They're wonderful, and I think everyone should wear them.
Savannah says, "Oh, this is actually how like a conversation Melanie and I had came up because of this." Savannah says, "Gaucho pants are nice, but my wearable blanket is way better."
And we actually got into gaucho pants because we were talking about the wearable blanket.
And Paul says dresses are comfy. Actually, he says dresses ain't comfy, but I know what he means.
And that is actually part of it too, because I was like, it's like a blanket, but it's a dress. And Randy's like, that sounds great, but it would be a dress. And he's like, I think dresses would be comfortable. And I said, then wear a dress. And he says,
Listen,
no. And I said, they wouldn't
comfortable.
wear gaucho pants because everybody loves gaucho pants.
Just put me in a big thing. I'm not wearing a muumuu or a dress, but put me just in a thing that just hangs. I just want the baggiest of everything all the time.
Yes.
Yes.
But I don't wear the baggiest of everything because you can't buy a lot of super baggy things anymore. But also, like, some of them, they don't look good.
Yes, ma'am. Muumuus are pretty legit too. I own at least one, and I love it. It's magical. But I do have a weird thing. I like pants. You know, I don't always want to wear a dress. I like having my nethers feel protected. So I like gaucho pants.
I mean, comfort is important, but as someone who exclusively has worn big, sometimes cheap black boots every day, regardless how hot it is, for the last like 20 years, you got to suffer for your fashion. I ain't wearing no muumuu.
Yeah. And every time you guys said gaucho pants, I thought, one morning I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How we got in my pajamas, I'll never know.
That's what I always think of too, and I'm like, that doesn't sound stylish or cool. Gaucho, really?
Yeah. I wish I could show you a pair of them though. They're great.
If you can Google a picture of it and do a screen share.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
I'll allow that. I don't care. I mean, I'll allow it. Eventually we'll react to some news. I don't know. I kind of enjoy this Groucho talk, I guess. Welcome to the Groucho cast.
Speaking of, like old school, and like in the chat, Paul said that he's living in a millennial world and he's just a boomer girl. Hey, check out the 60s Reboot podcast. It feels appropriate to pimp this right now. Because on the most recent episode, Moose was on there talking with Maddie D about Get Smart, and they recasted it for the new generation as we look at some gaucho, I guess.
Don't tell me those don't look like the most comfortable pants you've ever seen.
They do look comfortable. I will give you that.
Yeah.
They look like sleepy bell bottoms.
These are actually not. I mean, they kind of are. You can sleep in them, I'm sure, but these are like fancy work pants.
I mean,
they also look like hakama pants, which are what samurai would wear, so that you would not see them moving their legs.
Yeah, see? Look at all the uses.
I guess.
The perfect pant.
They seem okay.
Jinko jeans.
they seem okay.
Paul, I had a few pairs of Jinko jeans. Those ones actually did get a little ridiculously large, though. That was like wearing a skirt on each leg. And I mean, I like big, but sometimes you can get too big.
What's better than a dress? 2 dresses.
Hakama.
All right, let's react to some news. Unless, Jesse, did you? No, this is going to be the pants review, toy unboxing.
Yes.
Show now. That's what we do. All right. Did you have anything else, Jesse, you want to talk about for what recent viewing? Okay.
We should probably talk about. Should we talk about how much WandaVision we've seen?
I feel like we already did that.
But we didn't say anything.
He just wants to talk about WandaVision.
I intentionally. I thought no, because I thought
we can wait. We can wait.
I thought you indicated that if we weren't going to talk spoilers, there wasn't a lot to say about this new episode.
I don't know. Like every episode has a big reveal. So the episode you guys watched had a big reveal.
But I feel like whatever the big reveal is this week
is bigger.
No, it basically builds off of that, but then there's another reveal at the end that I want to speculate on wildly, but I don't know until next week.
Do we find out who Ralph is? No, don't tell me. I don't want to know.
I don't think Ralph exists.
Well, we don't ever see him, but she talks about him every episode.
That's true. It's Ralph Dibny from DC Comics.
Episode 7 just confirmed what a lot of people were thinking with
Except
Agnes.
I thought it was a red herring. Like I had
Right.
finally gotten into that camp where I'm like, you know what? It's just an interesting reference. It's just a red herring. Nope. And then the next episode, they're like, ha ha! You thought it was a red herring.
And they even do a little song about it was Agnes the whole time.
Yep.
It was Agnes.
And it's like the biggest song now. Like everybody loves it.
Really?
And I think it's okay, but it's like, really? That's
I like
okay.
it this like they overestimated their twist because of the song is like, bet you didn't see that coming. It's like I bet most people did
Like
because it was all over the internet.
Everyone did. Everyone did. They actually had convinced me, like, oh, maybe not.
See, Paul says this week's is huge, so that's why is huge, and that's why I was like, oh, okay, I didn't think we were going to talk about it. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah. Basically, the thing I really want to speculate wildly about is the mid-credit scene. So again, there is another mid-credit scene, which I thought was clever because it wasn't until the 2000s that we got mid-credit scenes, right? So it wasn't until...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
See?
Yeah,
it wasn't until the
show.
Office era. It wasn't until all the other shows. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if we even stuck around for the mid-credit scene.
Oh,
I don't think we did.
Huh.
I mean, it's
because
fun.
their credits are like 6 minutes long.
Exactly.
It's like, this is a TV show. Stop it.
I
Start waiting for them because especially this week's, it was like, I want to talk about this.
they do it every week because I started rewatching the series with my nephew because he hadn't watched any of them. And we watched the first 3 a day and we skipped them every time because he's like, there's 6 minutes of credits. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know. Just
It wasn't until the last episode and this episode that they started throwing those scenes in. So
they realized everybody was skipping past because that's too long. That's like worse than anime long.
Something I did notice about episode 7 is, and maybe they've always done this, but at one point when they go out to the quote unquote real world with the agents and stuff, with sword and all that, does it always go to like 235:1 or whatever widescreen, like extra like cinematic style widescreen? Because there's one scene where it went to them where what's her name like jumps in the it's not a tank, but whatever that armored up car to try to drive into the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
That's all like widescreen, like movie cinematic style widescreen. And I was like, I don't remember the other scenes doing that. And it's not, I mean, it's in line with the show to play with the aspect ratio since it's very much like the theme of media and TV and all that. But that seemed weird to me. And maybe I just didn't notice that it always was like in that aspect ratio when it went to the real world, since the real world is like the cinematic universe. So we usually see it in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it just that one scene? And if so, there's something up with that. Something up with that.
You know, I don't ever notice any of those things. And if you hadn't have pointed it out to me, I would never have known. And I think I represent a larger portion of the population than you do.
Right. But that does not say my noticing that does not make it invalid. It is.
No, I know.
Because they are intentionally playing with the format of the stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys aren't perceptive.
Also, I did call it with Monica Rambeau. I hope I called it on the show because I've been like saying it nonstop. I was like
getting powers through the.
Yep.
Yeah.
That she'd get powers that were light based because that's what her character has, and this is how. Yeah.
Because she had to fight through the barrier or whatever.
That was pretty cool too. I like the visuals of that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Even though my internet connection did not. Disney Plus lately has had the issue where, like when and it's Disney Plus specifically, maybe HBO now too, but especially when there's like that where there's suddenly a bunch of like crazy stuff going on the screen where the video demands a lot more information than normal. It just like it'll just pause, just freeze.
I even downloaded the episode and
Really?
was casting it, and it still did that where it buffered. It was like, what? Why did I even bother?
Yeah.
Right. Maybe they just like build that into the show now. They're like, well,
You were like,
we know this is a
wait
problem.
for it.
She had to fight for her right to party. Paul says he'll hit you up later. He wants to talk to you. Yeah, sorry. I mean, like I said, Melanie was over last night, but I was thinking new episodes came out on Thursday for some reason. But so we
No,
we haven't got a
that's
chance.
the Grawlix Nights show.
Well, I was thinking that we do the show the night the episode goes live, so I was like, we're really behind, kind of, because it's going on now, so we can't talk. Anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, let's react to some news. 45
What? 45 minutes in? Yes.
Okay. Several of these news stories are via our source, aka Paul, or a couple of them. And I'll start with one of those, and it's not a show I have ever watched, but it's interesting. Stargirl season 2, which I was like, Stargirl's a thing, it's still going on, and it happened. I remember hearing something about Stargirl. It's CW, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, apparently it's still going on. Season 2, John Wesley Shipp to play Golden Age Flash, Jay Garrick. So we're getting old school flashback.
Good.
Old school Flash again. Which was great. I liked seeing him in The Flash, the CW Flash. So, sure. I've never watched Stargirl.
I got nothing on that, so.
Is that the Stargirl from The Boys?
No.
Or is that a different character?
It's going to be a DC character.
Or wait, her name's not Stargirl.
She's
it's
from the
Star...
JSA in the comics.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have a lot to say about that, but I wanted to mention it because Paul had sent it to me, and I was, thank you, Paul, because that made me kind of want to check it out just because I was like, yeah, I like that guy.
Right. I dig it every time that he shows up. So like he makes a Flash episode more cool.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I recall watching the original Flash show.
Yep.
I loved it. I don't think it was great, but I loved it.
Same thing when Mark Hamill reprised his role in the new Flash series. I was like, yes.
It's so bad, but it's like, well,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
don't
also
care.
really appropriate. It's good.
Because it was bad the first time, but
Right.
entertaining.
Right.
Entertaining. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it is interesting. It's like, yeah, no, the CW stuff super camp, but like, look at what comic book shows used to be.
Right.
Together. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take maybe a
And
little,
that was
like,
must-see viewing back in the day. Like, we
Right.
waited for it.
okay, here's the title of this article. Okay, that Spider-Man movie title review was a good troll. Which is Wired.com's write-up of it. But the big news is the third Spider-Man movie. The title has actually been revealed, but only after the three like young actors, what's his name, Spider-Man and his friends, Spider-Man and all his friends. The
It was
three
Spider-Man, Ned, and MJ.
right. They trolled the internet leading up to the actual reveal, where they each posted like a different still from the movie from Spider-Man 3, with a big title reveal. This is the title, and they were all ridiculous titles, but because all the new trilogy has home in the title. One of them, hold on, I gotta find the fake titles first, because there was Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home. One of the fake titles was Spider-Man. Whoa, where'd it go? Hold on. My favorite. Okay, one of them was Spider-Man Home Slice, which I really liked.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
My favorite was Spider-Man Phone Home and Spider-Man Home Wrecker.
Whoa.
Then they did reveal the actual title in kind of an amusing. I did see this video last night, an amusing like little video with the three of them joking about how all their names just escaped me, but how Spider-Man
Tom Holland
cannot keep a secret. He's
Yeah.
he's kind of notorious for leaking big unintentionally leaking big secret. Him and Ruffalo, man, those two are the most dangerous for MCU
Right.
secrets. They
Yeah.
leak those stuff.
I was just gonna say, is he like, you should see everybody dies in the next one?
I bet, dude. I bet they have like special policies for Holland and Ruffalo. But the joke was like they won't tell him the title because he can't keep a secret, and then the video reveals the title. It's No Way Home.
Yep.
So Spider-Man: No Way Home is the third one. Zendaya, yeah, that's MJ apparently.
Yep.
I still haven't seen the sequel, the second of these Spider-Man movies.
Oh,
I just haven't gotten around to it. I need to. Is it on Disney Plus or something by chance? I feel like it's not.
I don't think it is yet. I don't think it is
You
yet.
haven't seen it. I'm gonna assume I haven't seen it either.
It's really good. I went and saw it without Holly, and then I was like, no, Holly needs to see this. So I watched it again, and she did. She liked it. So,
well, man, you may need to learn.
I don't think I made you watch.
I'm sorry.
What do we need to learn? I don't think I've made you watch the first one because you had no interest.
No, I did watch the first one.
Did you?
Yes, I did,
Oh.
and I enjoyed it. So,
Oh, I liked the first one. So
but yeah, because that was the one with
Tony,
no,
Iron Man.
with the. Oh wait, was it? Which one was the one with the big bird? That was Michael Keaton.
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vulture or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. That's that story. My segues are on point tonight. Well, how about this? Well, that's some Marvel news. Let's jump over to DC.
All right.
This is a weird story that I did not see coming, and it was initially reported on shadowandact.com, which is a site I had never heard of, but apparently they kind of focus on Black and African entertainment news.
Mm-hmm.
The story has been picked up by other sites, but Tanishi Coates to write upcoming Superman film from DC and Warner Brothers.
Ooh.
So, according to Shadow and Act, they learned exclusively from studio sources that Tanishi Coates and hold on, I need to find other stuff he's done. Who is kind of notable because he has said in the past, he's talked a lot about like I guess comic book movies and stuff, and how he's not really into them. But I'm trying to think of what else he's done.
I think you know what happened. He, like the rest of the world, was charmed by Henry Cavill and changed his mind, and so now he's got to make a Spider-Man or a Superman movie.
Oh, okay. This did not. Hollywood Reporter is saying that according to sources, and maybe this is in the Shadow and Act story. I don't recall reading it. It's being set up as a Black Superman story.
Oh.
Coates is a superstar author whose books include We Were 8 Years in Power and American Tragedy, The Beautiful Struggle, The Water Dancer, and Between the World and Me, which was later adapted by HBO. Oh, he's worked on, in comic books, he's worked on Captain America and Black Panther. So he's done comic book work, but he has been not critical, but he sounded very not into the idea of doing comic book films. But apparently that's changed.
Yeah, then they were like, here's a check. And he was like, oh. No, I'm sorry. That's mean of me to say. Not everybody can be bought.
Dude.
But, you know, comic books do be making lots of money.
Well, I mean, okay, what was it? I watched some trailer. I don't remember what it was, but it was very like a drama, not modern mainstream superhero type movie. It's just some drama by a well-respected director. And I was like, well, what else has this director done? And I looked up her filmography. This is doesn't have anything to do with the story. And it's all like, you know, very dreary looking dramas, except for like The Eternal or the like one Marvel movie,
right.
Or maybe it was that X-Men movie that came out and didn't do very well recently. That with the kids. I'm losing the titles, but the point is, it was all like what you'd expect indie award bait type drama movies, and then one superhero film in the middle of it, and I'm like, that's so weird. That looks so weird in a filmography, but that's like more often than not, that's kind of how it happens. That Hollywood comes knocking, it's like, come do the superhero movie, and then they do it, and it's like it either flops or whatever, and they're just like, all right, go back to making good movies, I guess.
It reminds me of, and I can't remember what movie it comes from even, but where they had Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in there, and they were fighting about it, and he's like, you got to go do your big Born Identities so that you can do your Talented Mr. Ripley's.
Oh, wasn't
what I mean?
that was a Kevin Smith movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, I want to say it was Jay and Silent Bob or something.
Yeah, that one's
the first Jay and Silent Bob movie.
But yeah, they got to do a couple big blockbusters so they can finance their, the indie movies that they make that actually win awards and whatnot.
Right. I don't have anything else to really say about it. It's going to be like a Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot production. It's going to be making it. Yeah, whatever. Moving on. It makes so it
no
being
Lex
like
Luthor,
like a black Superman makes sense because I was like, I was surprised because I was like, wait, is this live action? And it doesn't really say. There's like not any information about it. But I was like, they're really like, I know. And to touch on Paul's comment, is Snyderverse falling apart? Laughy face. Oh. He says. He also says, "Oh no, cue the angry old white guys." But I was like, so I know, like, yeah. Listen, the Snyderverse, it's kind of a mess. I'm pretty sure they're just gonna be moving forward, but it would still surprise me to already like recast and do a new Superman movie.
Mm.
But I'm assuming this is maybe like kind of handled like a different character. Right. Or it's like a Joker thing, one-off type, like its own thing, which is kind of, I feel like maybe DC's better way forward.
Right.
But it makes more sense if this is the case, where it's like, okay, we're a different angle as opposed to like, again, another Superman movie.
Or perhaps
just go X-Men,
Yeah. I was thinking they were going to actually follow more like the comic books and be like, we have 14 different comic books about this one character, except they're different people because of different universes and different whatevers.
Well, yeah, it makes me think of like Steel there's like, imagine having multiple like Superman franchises going at once in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like as a comic book reader, you get it.
It's Action Comics.
I think
it's Superman. It's Man of Steel.
Right. I think your average moviegoer would be bewildered.
Yeah.
Because I remember, what was it when we went to see some Marvel movie, and Spider-Man popped up, and they're like, "What's he doing in this?" And it's like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, whatever. Listen, I think DC and Marvel are both going to kick all those doors open when they're just like, hey, remember this Batman and that Batman? And hey, it's Doc Ock, from that one. And also, here's this Spider-Man. Like, they're just, I feel like
I hope
they
do that. I hope there's a superior Spider-Man in something. Like, do that. Doc Ock as Spider-Man.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. No, yeah, that would be good too.
Well,
just surprise everyone.
And
the nerds are going to be like, yeah.
Yeah. WandaVision has set a new bar, I think, with the whole recasting of Pietro. And now anybody can do whatever they want.
In the MCU, for sure. Because the MCU has been so kind of locked down in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
The current DC or the Snyderverse has been such a mess that it's like,
anything can happen, but that doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
Marvel, anything can happen. It's so good.
Okay, so this next bit of news, I'm going to blow through here. Paul says, I want a Spider-Man noir movie directed by Snyder.
But there's not much lens flares in noir movies, is there?
Yeah, but it's all slow-mo, so that could work.
Oh, that's true.
And he's, man...
slow-mo and dark.
black and white. He's got a thing for black and white recently, it seems. So, anybody familiar with The Time Traveler's Wife?
Yes.
Is this
I've
Holly
seen it.
read the book. Yeah.
okay? And I know it's been made things.
It's
Well,
chick-
apparently there will be a Time Traveler's Wife series coming to HBO, starring. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's that redheaded wildling that fell in love with that said, "You know nothing, Jon Snow."
Yeah.
I think she's cast. Rose Leslie is the actress's name. It's yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm catching up on comments. She was cast as the lead. This is I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting, but I don't know The Time Traveler's Wife, so okay, maybe I'll mention it. And then I got to this bit of information. I was like, oh, this is going in. Former Doctor Who showrunner Stephen Moffat is leading the adaptation, which has been in development for HBO for several years. So, one of Moffat's most popular Doctor Who episodes, in fact, was directly inspired by the novel.
Really?
I wonder what that is. I see. I'm not super familiar. I believe this has kind of a rundown of.
It's interesting.
An artist falls, by the way, I'm getting this from Vulture.com. They reported this. An artist falls in love in a dashing. Vulture.com, I think, has a typo. An artist falls in love with a dashing librarian who just happens to have a genetic condition that makes him time travel unpredictably and uncontrollably. And she can't even go with him.
Right.
Oh, so she's well, no, that's not the case because what's her name? Sweetie could also time travel.
River Song.
Yeah.
River Song.
Yeah. No.
But maybe that's a little.
As weird as it would be for her in having her husband time be different, I gotta think it's weirder for him because he meets her and then as a child and then as an older lady, and how are you gonna be like, oh hi, my future wife? That's gotta make you feel like a perv, I would imagine, a little bit.
Yeah,
But,
Paul says. Sorry.
Fine.
Yeah, Paul says darkness in the library, which is like the introduction and kind of whole concept of River Song, right?
Right. But it's American made, so I don't know if it'll be all that good.
All I know is the ending is gonna suck.
Right.
Moffat can't stick a landing.
No.
Yeah, I got to Moffat and I was like, oh, we got to talk about that. All right. Moving on. This is something that Melanie sent me today. District 9 sequel is finally in the works, according to director Neil Blomkamp. And I believe it will be called.
Will anyone remember that was a movie?
Yeah. Dude, 2009.
I liked it.
2009. It's been a couple days.
Yeah.
It's been an age since it came out. But yeah. Well, apparently he's like, it's been something he's wanted to do for a long time. He was just kind of waiting for, like, he had ideas and he was just waiting for, like, I don't know, I guess the right time and whatever. But the screenplay is being written by Charlton. There's a screenplay being written by him and two other people.
They're the same two people that wrote the first one, or that helped him with the first one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and he was saying he was waiting. First one was about his personal experiences, and so he was waiting for something interesting that he had lived that he could write about. So I'm guessing.
So yeah, I think the thing with District 9 is it kind of got everybody hyped about Neil Blomkamp. And not to say movies he's done have been awful, but I feel like a lot of his follow-up movies were kind of a disappointment in comparison, maybe, because I don't know.
They didn't do as well, yeah.
Elysium was okay.
Right.
I don't know what it is that didn't work great about that movie because I love the concept. It looked really good. It had a similar thing going on where and it's part of what made District 9 so unique is like the sci-fi with weird futuristic equipment, but in like very kind of modern looking dirt poor setting. is super interesting, and Elysium had that to the nines.
Mhm.
So Paul's comment here: let's make a District 9 sequel right after a global pandemic. That ties in to my feelings about some of our potential Snyder Watch news, and yeah, I agree with that.
Mhm.
It changes how you feel about movies. Like District 9 was very political and not about the best of times.
Right. I'm actually, because it's after the global pandemic, I'm kind of excited because if he's like, that's why I mentioned he said he was writing from some of his personal experiences. And I don't know if, and I know being from South Africa was a big part of that. That's why the movie was set there. And a pandemic based on alien DNA or something is kind of an interesting concept. I'm kind of hoping that's where it goes, which is why I'm excited for it, because how great would that be?
2020 is going to inspire a lot of
Well,
science
sure.
fiction for
It's
sure.
good. Yeah. It's got
not
to.
okay.
It doesn't make for good escapism, is what I'm saying.
No. No. I'd say everything about the last 4 years is going to make for a lot of future science fiction inspiration.
We're gonna have the next zombie renaissance in a couple of years because it's like, it's okay again.
Right. Well, it's like when we started doing movie of the week, and it got pitched several times, pandemic, and I'm like, I don't want to. I don't think no.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ignore potential segues you set up for me just now to move forward to this next thing, which was actually a story from a week ago that I had not heard. I discovered it through another story that I'm actually did not include because that story was not that as interesting as this. Everything about this headline I love. Edgar Wright to direct Stephen King's The Running Man.
Ooh, yeah.
I
What?
love it. The Running Man has been my go-to when every time they remake a good movie, I'm like, the remake's going to be crap because they're picking a great movie and then it's just going to be some generic thing. So my go-to was like, do something like The Running Man. It's not a great movie. It's actually a pretty crap movie. If you like it now, that's fine. I'm not saying it's not entertaining, but it's entertaining because it's kind of cheesy. It's cheesy, very cheesy. But it's a good idea, and it's relevant most of the time. So that was always my go-to for like, if they're gonna remake something, do something like The Running Man. That was like, yeah, fun, but like could have been way better. And if you're gonna remake The Running Man, give somebody like Edgar Wright the movie. He is great. So I'm just super excited for that. A new Running Man by Edgar Wright sounds amazing. That's not even a good joke. Paul says, I want to make The Running with Scissors Man. Well, it'd be very short-lived.
If you didn't have all
my
the
joke
right
was-
moves, you'd
I don't know. What do you guys think about a Running Man? Maybe you guys are like, no, don't remake Running Man. It's a timeless classic.
Yeah, no, they can remake Running Man. I don't mind.
you're gonna need a few good men to make that movie.
It's
I
Not-
don't even know what to do with your guys' jokes.
it's not the worst, but yeah, no, it could definitely be improved, I think.
So Deadline.com, by the way, is reporting this. Interestingly, oh no, maybe that was a different story. Again, this is not necessarily new news. Apparently, it won't be a remake of the 87 film. It'll be more based on whatever. It'll be like based on the source material as opposed to a direct remake of the movie, which makes sense. I'm sure Edgar Wright won't be able to help himself but throw a few nods. Who is... He will be co-writing it with Michael Bacall, who I'm not sure what... Oh, he'll co-write the story with Bacall. Bacall will actually write the script. Or has. whatever. Sounds pretty early in the process. So, yeah. I feel like I'm more excited than anybody else on this. That's fine. It's Edgar Wright, guys. Come on. I haven't loved every movie he's made. Like Baby Driver was.
Most of them are great, though.
He's great, and he always has like. He has a vision. He like actually has something where he's like, yeah, and he has talent, and he comes up with interesting things.
Yeah.
As long as it's not a TV movie, it might go the distance. I mean, the original Running Man wasn't a TV movie either, but yeah, Stephen King-based TV movies are terrible. Unless I'm missing the joke here. I feel like you guys are making all kinds of joke. I just don't get it. All right.
Got all the right moves.
Okay, I get that joke. Are we still doing the whatever? Edgar Wright is not wrong.
So,
Mortal Kombat Red Band trailer breaks viewership records.
Okay, I'm down.
This will segue into some trailer talk, perhaps. Yeah. So Mortal Kombat had the movie, the new live action movie, the trailer, a Red Band specifically. A Red Band trailer was because, listen, if you're gonna do R-rated Mortal Kombat, you gotta release a Red Band trailer, and if you don't know what that means, is it's basically a rated R trailer. They can, if it were to be shown in theaters, they can only show it in front of R-rated movies because it's got the violence and the swears and stuff. Paul says, "OMG, it was so effing good." But according to Deadline, the Mortal Kombat Red Band trailer clocked 116 million views in its first week, becoming the biggest Red Band trailer of all time, beating the 4-day mark of Logan and Deadpool 2 and continuing to do so. So a lot of people watch this movie or watch this trailer. I might have watched it like 5 times.
It's pretty great.
Maybe 6, actually. I think I watched it twice again before we did this stream.
I watched it and I made 2 other people watch it. So
Paul says it better not suck. I will go Jay and Silent Bob on Hollywood. Okay, so let's talk about the trailer a little bit because I do want to get your guys' opinions. My thing is, this movie very well may suck. I feel like it's hard to make a Mortal Kombat movie, live action Mortal Kombat movie, and not have it be crap. And that's as somebody who's like, I like the original live action Mortal Kombat movie, but acknowledging that there was disappointment when I went and seen it in the theaters as a 13-year-old or however old I was. And it's not a great movie at this point, but it's got nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
And I was a huge Mortal Kombat nerd, I guess you could say. Nut. But yeah, what do you guys think?
The trailer looked like a lot of fun, which doesn't mean everything.
It's a great trailer. This last time watching it, I was just like, the only thing I was thinking was, and this is not to poo-poo the movie. I really want to see this movie. It looks like there's going to be some bad stuff in it, but it looks good. It looks fun. Wonder Woman 84 had an amazing trailer too that I remember enjoying quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
I don't remember her trailer, but I will say this: video games usually are made for a video game format. They're not meant to have a whole lot of story to them. So I don't expect any video game movie, including Resident Evil, but I still think that was a good movie, even though you don't, Randall. And I don't expect it to be story heavy. That's not its job, But as far as like CGI and stuff has evolved, they can do realistic looking things that look like what the moves that the characters did in the comic book. And if they can do that, then it's going to be a good movie. That's all there is to it for a movie like this. It's a comic book. I mean, it's not a comic book. It's a video game movie. It's not going to be substantive. There's not going to be much to it. It's not going to be a great movie. But if the action is good and the moves do bring you the nostalgia that you should get from the video game. That's its only purpose.
Yes, but like I would disagree in that like it doesn't have to have a good story. There are good movies that don't have good stories or much story. There's a difference between though like a good movie, a well-made movie, and like cringy, cheesy, campy in a bad way. Like there's just acting and like it might not have a lot of story, but the dialogue that's there, is it okay? Is it passable? Is it embarrassing? Like, is it bad?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little concerned because one of the first things the internet latched onto was like, it's a birthmark. What's that? He was born with it. It's like,
Right.
duh. So like, yeah, it was maybe not great, but also like, okay, whatever. If you're gonna do Immortal, like, here's the thing that somehow I get it. I guess I get it more in the '90s a little bit, but especially like there weren't many video game based movies, and with the exception of Super Mario Brothers, and that was an example of what not to do. So the studio was not confident. They're not gonna, especially like in the '90s, they're not gonna give a video game based thing an R rating and think that that's going to sell enough tickets. But how can you not do Mortal Kombat with an R rating? So yeah, right there is already a big win. This trailer knows how to do the fan service, and all that stuff was in the movie. So at least, yeah, no, you're right. The movie knows how to do the fan service. They figured out something that like the video game trailer, the people that put together the trailers for the video games figured out is you just need to put Sub-Zero and Scorpion, a Sub-Zero Scorpion fight in the trailer, and Mortal Kombat fans will be hyped. And they did that, and it was awesome. I did enjoy that. I looked through the comments, and there were so many comments that were basically, the get over here was kind of weak, like the voice needed to be better, but it looks awesome. And I was like, I had the same thought.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Like, it's such a good moment, and you're like, oh, it's coming. There's Scorpion. And then they do it, and you're like, yeah, it's there. We're used to hearing Ed Boon scream it.
Yeah.
We're used to hearing Ed Boon scream it in weird stereo sound, like weird effect on it. But I do actually appreciate, like, there's a couple lines you hear from apparently Scorpion when he's got the mask on, and it's a little bit of a, it's not as bad, but it's a little bit of a Bane thing where it's just like it's gravelly, but definitely
born in the darkness
through the mask, and I'm like, I kind of appreciate that. And not Mario or Double Dragon. Oh, I don't expect Platoon, but better than Jean-Claude Van Damme's Street Fighter, and not Mario or Double Dragon. Well, I mean, those are talk about trilogy of classic '90s video game movies.
I would say, but I mean, like, even if you look at the legend of Mortal Kombat movies, it's not a high bar that they have to clear.
I don't expect.
I like the first one, but
I don't expect a good Mortal Kombat as a series. It's got so much lore, but the story's never been. It's not the story. The writing has never been good. There's like, I guess maybe the newer movies or the newer games, especially the last two, have really kind of like embraced telling a story, but it's still Mortal Kombat, so it's cheesy. And yes, I think one of the possible issues, and this doesn't go overkill with showing us like all these characters, but there are a lot of characters it shows, which is good. But like, that's got to be hard to balance in a movie. Just like, well, how do we cram in all these characters, like these fan favorite characters?
Right. Kano was a little weak at the end there. I was like, he had the funny line, but I was like, ooh, I don't know. First time I'm like, ooh, casting.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not super fond of that Kano. I do love that Kano is only Australian because he was played that way in the first movie. In the game, he wasn't. And they're
really, yeah.
And the games were like, we kind of love that he's Australian in the games now. So like, I don't know. Mortal Kombat has a weird thing where it doesn't matter. They'll just pull from whatever. listen, they just got to do better than that first Mortal Kombat sequel. Annihilation.
Oh God! Oh,
it was
Annihilation. I think I've seen it twice total, and the second one was rough.
I did appreciate the lack of whitewashing. That's nice. However, because Paul says Raiden looked underpowered. Christopher Lambert.
I like him, but no, he should have never been Raiden.
He's so weird. Like, it was, poor casting. But I kind of just want that as my Raiden all the time now. I kind of want him in this movie. Like, I hear that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's Raiden or somebody saying Raiden-like dialogue in this, and I'm like, that'd be so much better if he had a certain Lambert type accent.
There can only be one.
4 champions. Oh man. Yeah, I'm on board. I'm super excited for it. I just got to be reserved because it's a Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah. What's next?
Finish him.
Taking a moment to like. Okay, I guess we're. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what's next. Here's what's next. Snyder Watch. Before we get into actually, I don't have a whole lot of hardcore Justice League news. I will mention there was a long article. Paul had sent it to me. I've read chunks of it. It was very long, but there was a very long article released by Vanity Fair. And we will have a link to it in the show notes when this goes up as a podcast. Justice League: The Shocking, Exhilarating, Heartbreaking True Story of #The Snyder Cut is the title. And it is, Paul says it's long. It is. It's pretty long, and it kind of just talks about a bunch of like the issues behind it. It talks about things that Zack Snyder. It's got a bunch of like quotes and stuff from Zack Snyder. It talks about him talking about his daughter. So it talks about that a bit, and that is like, I mean, of course, that's a bummer. Then it talks about, but that's personal life drama, and that's generally not stuff I get into on this. It does talk quite a bit about the actual behind the scenes, like studio issues. Because remember, I'm always like, that's very unfortunate about his daughter, of course, and like nobody's gonna hold it against him if he was having to deal with those kind of issues. But I was like, but I remember hearing specifically before any news of his daughter, the situation with his daughter broke out, that he was canned because Batman v Superman was so hated, and the studio was like super nervous about his whole Vision thing. And that is not confirmed, but also kind of confirmed in this, and that it says there were reports that he had been fired. The article claims that's not the case, but the studio was super shaky about it, and they had there was 2 guys it mentions. I don't remember exactly who, but their studio, like a producer, one of the producers, and another guy who basically is like one of them had to be on set every day. They're like, we got to have one of us there every day. And they even said to babysit. And Snyder, they have a quote of Snyder saying basically, like, it didn't really, like, because that happens sometimes in movies where the producers or whoever's backing it is like super nervous about what the director's going to do, or they're not confident in this, or they want to sway it a certain way. And so
like
that's
if you're going to
totally
give a certain Edgar Wright Ant-Man.
Right. Some people see that before they even before they start filming, and they're like, you know what, maybe we go our separate ways.
Release the right cut.
I don't think the right cut exists, but maybe it does.
Probably not.
Maybe we'll just get a new movie if we keep on it.
Do it. They'll give him millions of dollars.
At this point, just go make Running Man. I'd rather see that.
That's true. Yeah.
Snyder said he actually wasn't too bothered by that. He said most of the notes and suggestions weren't outrageous, but it was like the stuff you would expect. We need more humor here. Or like less dark, more humor. Because, of course, you know, the things that the Snyder universe is known for, humor and bright, happy things.
Less sucker punch and more Jim Carrey.
And then I've also read other places that he decided to quit. Not even necessarily the way it's painted here, and maybe I missed part of it. They sent Jeff
Joss
Johns
Whedon bullied him too.
No, I don't think that was the case.
Oh, okay, good.
Because some people, I do remember reports that like Snyder asked Joss Whedon to come take over, and this is like
I remember that. Yeah,
that did not happen. Snyder never talked to Whedon about it.
Yeah,
give me a Snyder Donnie Darko. Point. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Doesn't seem likely at this point.
No. There is an interesting bit about because his wife is one of the producers, and I believe Christopher Nolan is still producer on these. They screened the Whedon cut, and then afterwards came out, and there's an interesting quote from them about his wife had said, don't let Zach watch this. Don't ever let Zach watch this. It'll break his heart, or whatever. Blah blah blah. It's a little over the top, but I forgot what point I was going to be making. However, another interesting thing, and this is something that was reported previously, was Snyder is not getting paid for this Snyder cut. Like all the work he's doing, it's totally unpaid, and he said that was his choice. For one, I'm assuming he probably got paid for the movie in the first place to begin with, but because his name was still on as director, Whedon did not have his name put on as director. But he says, yeah, he's not getting paid for any of this, which is kind of insane. Of course, I'm sure he's got plenty of money. He's not hurting. But he said it's so that so that they can't make him compromise because they have no leverage over him.
That's fair.
So he's just like, dude, I ain't getting paid.
If this is my cut.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for free. Yeah. Which is interesting. Paul says it's a fun peek behind the curtain. And there's quite a bit more information. Like I said, I didn't read all of it. I skipped through some of it. And I do want to come back to it since we do Snyder Watch every week. I will read through all of it. It seems fairly exhaustive. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that if you're really curious about what happened behind the scenes, it seems fairly accurate. I'm still suspicious of some of the little details, but you know, whatever. Where he's talking about his daughter, like that bit is pretty sad. It's pretty a bummer. There's a detail that it points out where when he talks about her, he still switches between past and present tense. She is one of blah blah blah, she's the geek blah blah blah, and then switches between that and was. So yeah, that's not easy. Yeah. Or you could skip that and just read the good stuff. Question mark.
Yeah. Sometimes we all need a little basketball diaries in our life, you know.
Well, Paul says in March he'll be interviewing a guy who wrote a book on release. Wait.
Oh,
somebody wrote a book on
Jim
releasing
Carroll?
the Snyder Cut. Why? Okay. I'm super interested to hear that interview, Paul. Cool. Like, no bad on the guy. I'm sure, I have mentioned, like, part of the appeal of the Snyder Cut, especially since it's revealed that it's happening to me, is that it's not necessarily Zack Snyder. What was your basketball diaries? I am fascinated by, like, when movies go wrong behind the scenes, like what happened. It's like the Superman's Donner cut, you know. I mean, that happens sometimes, and sometimes the director's final vision does kind of come out. Or Superman 2, whatever.
Yeah.
However, a gig I'm sure Snyder is getting paid for is Army of the Dead, and a trailer for that came out.
Yeah.
I still don't know if this is just like, hey, just zombie apocalypse movie, or if this is specifically like supposed to take place like, because his first big movie break was, or directorial success was the Dawn of the Dead remake, which is not bad.
Right.
I saw this trailer, and I actually asked if this was based on a video game, because the characters that it shows you, at least, seem to be just that. They're like video game characters, like very exaggerated and ridiculous. So
yeah, specifically you mentioned like the guy in suspenders and stuff.
The guy in suspenders with the giant club with nails pounded into it. Yeah,
that made me think of the Warriors.
The characters look super over the top. Paul says, this one I'm looking forward to. It's a spiritual sequel to Dawn, and there will be an entire universe built. Well, of course, there will be a whole Snyderverse, you could say, built around it.
Oh, no.
A spiritual sequel to Dawn of the Dead makes sense because, I mean, that's kind of how even the original George Romero franchise went, is like, none of them were, I mean, they were, but not really official sequels to the other ones for most of the time for rights reasons. But it's just like, it's just a zombie movie. But hey, I agree with Melanie. It looks very over the top, comic booky, cartoony, whatever you want to say. It looks exaggerated.
Yeah.
It looks fine, I guess.
Am I in the minority? Because like, I'm kind of over zombies right now, and I hate to say that because I like zombie movies, but kind of over them.
Paul says there's a prequel and an animated project in the works. Yeah, we had kind of reported on some of that before, or whatever, reacted to news of some of that. With Netflix, I believe this is all with Netflix.
In response to Jesse's question, I think there's been too much zombie like not recently, but in the past decade at least. And if you're going to make a zombie thing, it's not going to stand out unless it's like extremely good or extremely different. You know what I mean?
Right. Like Walking Dead is coming back, and I don't care.
Yeah. We never even finished it.
We fell off years ago. And it's not like I hated it. I still enjoyed it, but we just fell off. It's so sad. There was a time when I'd just be like, it's zombies. It doesn't matter what. I just want to watch it. It's zombies.
Yeah. Brad Pitt could be in it.
It became, I hate to say became too mainstream, because it's not just that it was mainstream. It became, it's just like,
it's oversaturation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We got overrun with zombies.
I hoard that.
Zombies here and there. I can handle that. You get overrun with them. Just done with them.
I hoard what you were saying there.
Oh. So yeah, I don't know. Like, it being a zombie thing, I'm not opposed to a zombie thing because it's a zombie thing, but you're right. It's got to do something to stand out. And it being Zack Snyder, it looks fine. It looks what's in the trailer looks exactly like what I would have expected. Here's the thing. I wasn't super on board with this to begin with because the concept is like kind of weak to me. It takes place in Vegas, so a little bit maybe, shades of Dead Rising, whichever one of them. One of the Dead Rising video games did take place in Vegas. So yes, it probably is inspired by video game stuff, which is also inspired by Dawn of the Dead. Zombies.
Mhm.
It's like the snake eating its tail, except it's zombies. It's like it sounded like it was basically a casino heist in the zombie apocalypse, and I'm like, yeah, but why?
Right.
It's the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of you always got to throw the soldiers in there. And it's like them being soldiers kind of makes.
But that throws a little too much of the like current day element in there. Like I tried to watch Fear the Walking Dead again, and I just can't.
Oh, right.
Because that first season is all about like riots and pandemic, and
right.
I can't watch it.
Back when that was still fairly,
That seemed like escapism back then. It's not.
Yeah. The apocalypse is escapism. It's great until it's happening. Then you're like, oh, yeah, it kind of sucks now.
Oh, everyone's in riot gear. Huh. That's weird. We're not seeing that regularly.
Right. Riot. Okay, yeah, I don't have anything else really to say about it. He has a certain font that he likes. He likes a very blocky font. It was very reminiscent of like all the fonts you see around the Justice League stuff and all that. Also, I noticed that it credited him as from the director of Man of Steel and Dawn of the Dead, which Dawn of the Dead totally makes sense. I'm like, well, you're not going to throw BVS in there? Or there's no Snyder cut? A Snyder cut? From this... All of his movies should just he should do the Spike Lee joint thing. It's just a Snyder cut.
From the director of Sucker Punch.
I've never watched it. I've only ever heard, with the exception of
we
one friend.
may need to bring back GCU just so we can Sucker Punch a fool.
I do want to watch it. I've heard horrible things.
Until you do. Yeah, it was. Oh. We need to do it just because we made Jasper watch horror movies.
Right. Jasper, where you at?
He was in here earlier. Did you see him?
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Okay, well I think that's all I got.
Okay.
I'll watch Army of the Dead, by the way. I'm intrigued. If anything, I like Snyder's visual style. I just think his storytelling sucks.
And it's not like we don't watch bad movies fairly.
Oh yeah.
So
I love bad movies.
That should just be how we open our show. From the bowels of the Snyderverse, we present, says Paul.
In the future.
Savannah said, I saw Sucker Punch. Savannah, your profile picture is awesome, by the way. I saw Sucker Punch in the theater, and it was awful, she says.
She's not wrong at all.
All right, so, hey.
Yeah.
Melanie.
Yeah.
You got anything we should be amazed about?
I do. This was, okay. I read this yesterday, and I'm just going to read you. This blows my mind. Stuff blows my mind a lot, but it should blow everybody's mind, in my opinion. Okay, so star-forming material is being delivered to huge galaxies. Scientists led by Ha Fu, an associate professor of astronomy at the University of Iowa, has spotted what they describe as a pipeline gas filament feeding an enormous galaxy that's 2.5 billion years old. Fresh, cool gases for star forming. They've been studying this for years, and they were finally able to confirm long-standing models that suggest star-forming material is delivered to huge galaxies via these cosmic filaments. So there's like a circular. I mean, this is my take on it. It seems like there's like a circulatory system running through the universe, moving these cool and thinner, and mostly helium and hydrogen, into these old galaxies that have burned through a lot of their star-forming material and is mostly now just hot metals and stuff floating around, probably forming planets that otherwise would, run out of fuel and extinguish. Excuse me. And the universe is like pumping it fresh material. That's crazy. And yeah, it makes me. I told Randall about it yesterday, and he was like, "It's like we're in their lungs, and it's And I'm like, yeah, it does. That's exactly what it feels like to me. It feels like we're a part of a bigger creature that we probably will never get to discover because it's so much larger than us. But blows my mind, amazes me, and I think it should amaze you too.
Yeah, and just to put it more succinctly, the way you messaged, this is what you said in your message.
Mm-hmm.
Astronomers confirm that gas filaments that connect galaxies are piping fresh, cold gases into giant ancient galaxies.
Yes, that is exactly.
Yeah, that's just like it was a very succinct way of putting the whole concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like, when we go into space, Paul says we're a virus. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, it just made me think of like, okay, we're just a cell in an organism.
Mm-hmm.
It did kind of give me that a creepy little feeling of like,
Mm-hmm.
because I've thought about that before, like the what is it, the Men in Black thing where like we're just in a
the
Marvel
enormity of things, yeah,
right, and like our whole galaxy is just this little tiny thing, and this feels like that, only makes me feel much smaller in the scope of things, where it's just like, oh well, like a collection of galaxies is just like a part of an organ of a larger thing or something like that, which kind of made me and I was like, I don't like it.
I love it. I'm excited to see what more they can find out.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, you got anything coming up exciting about?
No, but tonight's theme was Tom Cruise movies.
Was it?
Yeah, all the right moves.
Oh.
American made. There's a few.
Yeah. Good job. I didn't even notice. No more.
I was definitely flying under the radar like a Top Gun.
Oh, your references.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I wasn't getting some of your jokes, because they weren't making they didn't make sense.
I know. I was like, I don't want to point it out. I said risky business at one point.
Mm-hmm.
See, those make more sense when I know what's happening.
They were like, that's a weird one.
All right.
It's like you had your eyes wide shut.
I might have got it
The difference is night and day.
What's that movie where it does the live, die, repeat thing?
Oh, yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow. And they're actually going to call the next movie Live, Die, Repeat, and Repeat.
Oh, no.
Because everyone thought that was the name of the movie anyways.
It's because they put out posters that just said that. And it's like, well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Their marketing was a Mission Impossible.
2.
Ghost Recon.
Oh, right. Okay. I don't have anything.
Nope.
Although, so our next live stream
will be next.
Will be a certain anniversary, and not the Grawlix anniversary, but also the Grawlix anniversary.
Oh, I know what that means.
So I don't know what we're gonna do there, but yeah, this next week Grawlix will be the 7 years of Grawlix.
Yeah.
This next week.
It was a 7-year itch.
No,
good time to rename the podcast.
That's true. That's true. Prepare yourselves. Oh, what am I going to do with these? What are we going to do with our
all the merch? Yeah,
I have so many. I have so many business cards.
Yeah, I got some buttons too.
Oh well. think after that last convention, I decided I wasn't doing them anymore anyway. So
That's fair.
hi, Clara. What's going on? We are just wrapping up the show, unfortunately, but you can always rewatch if you want.
Mhm.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching in the future on the podcast feed. Thanks for listening. Daredevil says,
Gah!
okay.
It's mellow yellow Daredevil right there. So yeah.
All right.
We're good, Clara. She said, great. How are you? I'll have to learn new locations. No more GrawlixPodcast.com. Grawlix Pod. Oh.
Ooh.
Well, let's just wait and see what happens. All right.
We're not married to anything, you know. It's kind of an open relationship kind of thing,
Yeah.
right?
It's a bit of a swap.
Maybe it'll be GCU after 7 years. Who knows? Maybe we want to mash it up.
Would you just, yeah.
Would you show us your pitch?
All right, everybody. Take it easy. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend. Oh, it's Friday night even.
Yeah.
Friday night. Feeling's all right. My weekend's going to feel way off now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Bye.